Andy B here. We are still at Christians Against Poverty. Myself, Nathan Thomas and Stephen D. I know it's 1 o'clock. Normally you've got the voice of Stephen D on the late lunch, but you've got my voice instead, all the way through till 5 p.m. However, what's better than my voice is some of the lovely people we're getting to meet here at CAP. They are currently on their lunch, so you might hear some background noise. There's pool going on, which is cool. I think table tennis, I'm told, is later. People are having their lunches, and we've got more guests coming to talk to you about what they do here at Christians Against Poverty in Bradford, including the lovely man in front of me. So let's just start with a simple one for people who are listening. Just tell us what your name is and what is it you do here at Christians Against Poverty head office in Bradford.
Right, my name's Keith. I've been volunteering here for 19 years and I've always worked in the supporter care area because I had to get permission from work. I used to work for HMRC, the dreaded Inland Revenue, so I was a taxman, and I was debt collecting. But because of the items that CAP clients deal with, there could have been conflict of interest, so I was never allowed to work and see any client information. I only ever worked in the supporter care side, where the donations come in and people that support the charity.
And you've been here for a little while. What do you enjoy about what you're doing now? I mean, you've worked in obviously non-CAP work in the past, if I can put it that way. What do you enjoy about your day-to-day role here?
I feel that I'm giving a valuable time so that other people that are employed here can get on with other jobs. So I just do, well, it started filing, updating the database of customer information, supporter information, and updating addresses, all that sort of stuff. Basically, basic data entry stuff to free the paid members of staff to deal with more difficult things.
So you're, in a sense, what you're doing is supporting them to get on with the job of working with the people who would access CAP. So I'm guessing, therefore, people wouldn't necessarily make a phone call to CAP and get you on the phone, but
no,
they might well get somebody who you're supporting to talk to them.
That's right. Yes, I've never been on the phone for support care. It's not an area that I deal with, but I do update addresses because when they have a campaign for raising funds, you'll get a lot of returned mail come back for some reason or other. Maybe the person's deceased, or maybe they don't want to be on the mailing list anymore, or they've changed address. So all of that stuff comes back into me, and they keep that aside because they know I'm going to deal with it. So when that comes back, I then stick it all on the database, update the records, and the system automatically will send, if somebody still wants to be on the mailing list, a system will automatically send out an email saying we've had this mail return, so they can then go online and update their address. So that's something that I do. The other thing I've done, when I first started here, it was all paper filing, and they only had 3 people working in supporter care area, myself included. And now there's about 10 of them in that area, because it's supporter care and phone connections as well, so it's a vastly expanded area. But what amused me was I was filing all the paperwork initially, and this is stuff like donation forms, gift aid forms, legacy forms, anything that has to be kept, because you've got to have an audit trail for everything that comes in. So I was filing these away as paper. Then years later, I can't remember how many years it was, they said, oh, we're going to go computerised. Can you scan all that lot into the system? So I then had to pick them all up again, scan them, which basically was really slow at the time because it was a little desktop scanner that you could only do like 10 at a time, so you're shoving it through this stuff. And I spent hours scanning them and allocating them to the correct record. And it just amused me that I'd filed it all away years before and then was dealing with it again. So I just thought that was funny, just amused me. So that's fun. But I say, CAP has also helped me to keep balanced, because when I was in the Inland Revenue, I was debt collecting. And from taxpayers who hadn't paid their tax, And my job was either get an agreement with them over 2 years to pay their tax that they owed and continue paying their current tax, make them bankrupt, or wind their company up. Those were my options. So, and I absolutely hated doing that, I must admit. But I saw what debt did to people. So volunteering here helped me to see the other side of things, how CAP helped people out, and how, it just helped me keep balanced.
Debt is, we're going to keep on saying this throughout the day, but debt is something I think a lot of people don't really fully understand. It's something that happens sort of over there somewhere. It's not away from me. We don't really understand just how much it affects someone's life, their family, their loved ones.
Yes.
And it isn't just that person, because it's going to affect like a ripple in the lake.
Yes.
But then there's people like you that can support the work of CAP, because it's quite a hard job, I have to imagine. I haven't done it, but I would imagine working with people in crisis, it takes a lot out of you to do that.
Yes.
I've helped a few people in my life, found them on the street or whatever, and it's not something I regularly do, but it takes a lot out of you. But then day in, day out, they're on the phone to people who are struggling, and then there's someone like you to help. And I love the fact that your daughter also works here at CAP.
Yes. It's just, I don't know, it's only through Kildare that I started volunteering here, but I found, to be honest, I felt more valued volunteering here than I ever did in my real job. Civil service is a civil service, you're just a number. But I felt more valued as a person working here. And I suppose I've never been in debt personally, but I have struggled in my earlier married life. I remember once, we used to live on sausage and mince. And my daughters, because I've got 2 daughters, said to us, "Mum, Dad, when can we have joined up meat?" And I've always remembered that. Another thing that happened to us once, so I can sort of understand a little bit about being in debt. I was out of work for 18 months, and I haven't always worked as a civil servant, I've had other jobs as well, but I was out of work for 18 months, and during that period we were really struggling, and I had a choice of either paying the phone bill or getting food. And I said, it says in the Bible, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So I'm going to pay the phone bill. I'll just trust God for the money, for the food. The next day, and I don't know to this day where it came from, an envelope came through the letterbox with twice the amount of cash in it that I paid the phone bill. I don't understand to this day where that came from. All I know is God was there looking after us.
Which is what he does rather well.
He does indeed.
But we have to put our hands into his in order to really understand God at work in our life. He does amazing things, miracles, but it is so important that we just surrender our lives to him in order to see the kind of stuff that you saw. What's day to day now? I mean, you talked about how you looked after the data, you've manually inserted, then scanned it. I've done some scanning in my life, and it's quite slow and laborious. And then tying up the scanned image to the right file, I can definitely understand the time-consuming part of that. What's day to day for you these days?
Right, well, I still do a lot of that at the moment. So I deal with all the return mail. We're still having paper coming in, for donations. When CAP go out and do a church visit, you'll have gift aid forms. You'll have donations coming in. So I'm still scanning those items onto the system and allocating them up to the records. It hasn't really changed much, but I do. I will pray with the team as well, the supporter care team. I care about the team very much, just because I've worked with them for such a long time. It amazed me because for the first time I was invited to their Christmas do last year, and I felt so privileged and honoured to be there, because I'm not a paid member of staff. I'm just a person that comes in once a week and goes away again. And I've been able to do that because I work flexi time. I'm now retired, so I can come in, for a full day rather than half a day. So it's very similar to what I've always been doing. Again, because I can't see the client side, even though I'm retired, I'm still tied by the Official Secrets Act and that conflict of interest stuff. I'm still tied with that. So yeah, it's very much the same, although it's all electronic now rather than paper filing. But I enjoy what I do, and very sad because somebody said to me, I love spreadsheets, and I'm also treasurer for the church that I go to, so figures are my thing. And somebody said to me once, "Oh, when you pass away, Keith, they're going to wrap you in a spreadsheet." And I just thought it was funny.
So good thing to laugh about.
So there you go. But I've even got a spreadsheet for my timings, for how many scans that I do, and just for my own interest. And I think it takes me something like 1.5 second to do one scan and allocation, because I'll do like 5,000 or 6,000 in a year, or even more than that. So that's how much work I push through.
One of the questions that I've really enjoyed, I made up on my first guest of your daughter, is obviously CAP's quite a hard place. Not this is a hard place to work, but the work that CAP does, that's quite hard.
Yes.
And some people might not want to do that kind of thing because it's dealing with people's trouble and problems and real life stuff, which is why I'm really grateful there's so many wonderful people here. But what makes you get up in the morning and want to come into CAP when you don't have to, because you're not paid to be here?
No.
But what makes you want to come in every time?
Because I feel that CAP provides such a good service to people who are struggling and who are in debt, that anything I can do to help, as I said, I'm only allowed to work on the supporter care side, but anything I can do to help, I will do, because it's such an important thing. And as I've said before, I've seen what debt does to people, and it gets people in a real state. Some people, might even take their own lives because of debt. It's an awful thing, awful weight to have on your shoulders. And I just feel that CAP do such a valuable job, because they don't just help them out of debt, they get alongside people, they will pray with people, they will even help them out with sometimes supplying groceries for them. Say, here you are, you haven't got anything in your cupboards, you daren't turn your lights on, you can't do anything. I mean, I remember Claire telling me years ago, there was one client they were dealing with, and she was feeding the children, but she couldn't afford to feed herself, so she was eating paper.
Wow.
That is why I do it.
Because you're helping people who are the most vulnerable, and that's what debt does.
It does.
It takes your legs away from under you, doesn't it?
I hope that helps. I don't know whether I've shared too much there, but I hope that helps you understand why I do what I do.
No, I think it's perfectly. It helps perfectly, because sometimes what difference can we make? We can't pay the debts off for people. We can't do this. We can't do that. But there's so much that we can do. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I know my own role. I run a magazine and a radio station, and people who support me doing what I do means I can do the stuff that only I can do. They do the stuff that only they can do, and all those little pieces of the puzzle. It is like jigsaw pieces.
Yes.
And the more people who can put in their little piece of a jigsaw, it just
completes the picture.
Absolutely.
That's right. Without that piece, that picture is not complete. So, like you say, I'm a jigsaw piece that comes in and fits into that picture.
I wonder for how many of us we think we're just a piece of sky, on that jigsaw, and there might be 100 pieces of sky, so we're not that important. But if you've got to the end of that jigsaw puzzle and you're missing that one last piece, even if it looks similar to the rest, it's not a complete picture, which actually is a beautiful image. I just think I've just come up with you of how we're supposed to be as Christians, as church. We all part of that body. We all have a part to play, whether we're a corner piece, whether we're one of the edges, or we're somewhere in the middle. We want the complete picture, and that actually does require everybody to do what it is that they're able to do.
Yeah, everybody to play their part, and everybody. I mean, I just wish there were more people that got involved, because it's such an important charity to me, that how much they help other people out. Because I don't know of any. Okay, there are other debt agencies that help people, but I don't think they go to the length of offering to pray with people, offering to supply groceries, as I've said. They will say, oh yes, we'll help you get out of debt, or put a plan together, but they don't. They look at the problem, they don't necessarily look at the individual, whereas CAP look at the individual and look after the people. Does that help you understand why it's different?
Yeah, because we've all got physical needs, right? We need food, we need shelter, we need heating, we need water. These are some of the basic core elements that every human being needs. And although it's good to meet those physical needs, and we can help people with physical needs in different ways. Food Bank, I mean, they do a great job of what they do, but they're just only one piece of the puzzle as well. I mean, it's an important part. But actually, it is the physical and the spiritual, because we're not just a physical being.
Correct.
We have a physical component and a spiritual component. If you only fix the one part, there's an imbalance, and I guess that's where CAP is coming along to help both parts of who it is that we are.
The complete healing, if you like, for want of a better word.
It's a good one.
So that's how they work. They look at the complete picture, not, as you said earlier about the jigsaw. They look at the complete picture, not just part of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think CAP is different and is so important for the work that it does. I wish more people would get involved to help out and support and do whatever they can, because to me it's just a very, very important charity.
And it's making a difference in the world.
Yes, it is.
Which is much needed. Keith, thank you for your time and sharing some story. I love the fact I've got a father and a daughter. Okay. I've interviewed both people, which is super precious to me, and that you're working here. You get to work alongside her and support her in quite a unique way. I guess. I mean, we think of grandparents looking after grandkids. Yeah, that's legitimate.
That's right.
But actually, you're supporting your daughter in a very different and unique way. But like I said, lots of people could also help.
Yes, they could. And I say, I can come and go as I please, which is great. If I can't come in 1 week, I'll just phone into the Rachel, who's my manager, and say I can't come in this week, I've got something on, or I will always let her know so that she's aware, so that they can just either save the work up, or somebody might be able to deal with it if there's a load there that needs pushing through. But it's a real privilege and honour to be here.
Keith, thank you. It's a pleasure and a delight to have met you today.
The June issue of Pure Media, the magazine, comes out on Friday the 7th of June, with a whole host of international writers speaking on life, faith, sports, technology, joy and more, from our family to yours. In the June edition, we shine the spotlight on Sherry Seligson, a marine biologist from Florida, and Chris Kerr, who helps us focus and celebrate on dads. Sign up today and enjoy all of this and more at www.puremediathemagazine.com.